So he had to wait for the cut, which gives him a second of actors acting unreal.
Drew, Kent, Kento-san, whatever you want to call him. Brother, sometimes for me. That's how I think of him. We grew up together on Vancouver Island, and we go way back. Far back as I can actually remember having had consciousness to know who I was. And when he was young, he left for Japan. And you know how at that time, the world is imbued with just that much more magic and incredibleness. So my interest in Japan grew with my growing up, and I wanted to get over there one day, so I thought I would travel. Now, when I traveled, the best way that I ever did when I was young was with my dad, and around the island that I lived, that was to sail. And if you know anything of sailing, or have ever done it before, you'll notice there's something very special about it, and that is the sound, or specifically more that there is a lack of it. And I've found since coming to Japan, where I might have used to dread traveling in the countryside because it meant long trips in cars and loud horns and crazy traffic, just like I used to love zero traffic on a sailboat, I get to enjoy that same experience when I travel here in Japan, and just in the same way, the singular soundlessness of it, or that the only sound that you hear is that of the train traveling over the tracks, like the hull rushing over the water below it. So before we arrive to Kyoto, I think I'll allow Drew a little interlude to perhaps elaborate more exactly on this incredible effort that he's gone through to establish there.
Yeah, look, I guess I should start talking and just get warmed up and used to it. We could just kind of cut
exactly.
It. Right?
You got it. You don't.
Human Torch was denied a bank loan. Yeah, one of the coolest things that we found when renovating Garden Lab and Momichi no Komichi was that these buildings are about 100 years old, but we really didn't know what they were beforehand. We think that some of them were houses, some of them were probably stores, but it almost seemed like some of them were kind of factories as well. There was one that we think made geita, Japanese wooden sandals. But the interesting thing is that probably wasn't always the case. Whatever their final iteration wasn't their original iteration. They were probably homes before, or maybe converted into stores, and then back again. And so the Machiya is an amazing template for that, where you could be zoned for a few different things, and your house or your home or your store or your factory could evolve through a number of different stages through its evolution, like Pokemon.
So there you have it. Grown up in Japan to want to maintain the culture of it, having appreciated it in contrast to his own. Poetic, I'd say. And when Drew wants me to get down for something like one of the events that he has going on, something that I look forward to absolutely every single time is to be able to go on the Shinkansen. This thing is a speeding, liquid, balanced bullet. It's so much fun. And where I said before I used to dread, I now look forward to. The epitome of all of that is to be able to go on the Shinkansen. Because when you do this in Japan, you're not just taking the train, although you will certainly do that, but you're going in for the full experience. And for me, I've never had 2 hours go by so fast. You get on there with a bento, likely, as is tradition, or in my case, you grab a few frosty pints and you crack your book open and you read for a little while. I'm always sad at the end of these trips that they're over, because there's nothing that I enjoy to do more. It's kind of like when I was young, I used to say when I was so busy, I loved most, I said this to my coach, the in-between time. And that was whenever you were traveling from or to something and you didn't have to worry about what was at the end destination. You could finally let yourself go, be in a moment, and just chill. Now I've gotten a little bit older, and I actually enjoy where I arrived to. And so this case, it was to go to Kyotography and the sort of special events that Drew is putting on now, and they are absolutely not to be missed.
Touchdown, Drew. I'm at the station, and I will see you shortly. Hello. 松原河原町に行きたいです。はい、お願いします。はい、こう。はい、いいです。はい。どうもありがとうございます。はい。5、6、7、8、9。はい。はい。どうもありがとうございます。あ、大丈夫です。はい。ありがとう。Very essence of efficiency. We have arrived.
But Dave, I hear you say, what is this Kyotography? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let me elaborate. This is one of a variety of events that Drew has made the effort to be a part of, which is, in this case, there are a number of different photographers around Kyoto gathered into a kind of collective that are having their art featured at many, many different venues. Garden Lab is one of those venues, so you're not going to see all of the art here, you're going to see one of the particular artists that is involved with the project. And it's this whole visual media theme where there's the photography that's done specifically of an event that was celebrated in Kyoto, but also there was this cool 3D VR, and that was being featured in the evening as well. So you've got the surrounding of a restored traditional Japanese building featuring some of the most cutting edge, fun virtual media, and the artists there mingling with all the people who've come to check it out in an open air summer environment. I know of no other place that I would rather be.
Being intense in the role of the character and then being released from it. And then I think you should check this out, number 3.
Number 3?
Yeah,
okay.
and number 9, Marie Lies, French artist who works with visually impaired people.
I know it's kind of going on a tangent, but I've seen music that's specifically for like hearing impaired.
Right.
And it's like by that like limitation.
It enhances other senses, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we all know about, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder and all that people, I don't know, but there's so many good stuff. Omar, who is a Senegalese artist.
Okay.
But, who's been born to the colonized Senegal, and whose ancestors and his own history are famed throughout the lenses of colonization. And, that's why he titled his show Diaspora.
Thanks to you for coming along on this ride that I went on. It means a lot to me. As I hope you can tell, this was a labor of love. There's nothing I like to do more in the world than make these kind of videos, and if that connected with you, I've done my job. Until next time, take care, be safe out there. Hope you drop a like, drop a comment. I love to interact with people, know what your experiences are traveling. But for now, clock has run out. Catch you in the next one.